happy holidays from all of us at Coast and our Panda Express family. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and we know you're busy snagging gifts for your loved ones. Why not add a dash of flavor to your shopping spree? Grab some Panda to go. It's not just a meal, it's a ritual that adds a touch of joy to your holiday adventures. So however you Panda, make it part of your holiday routine. Order yours today. Visit pandaexpress.com or download the app to find a location near you. Panda Express, bringing flavor to your festivities. Because however you Panda, we got you covered.
Get some Z's. You never know what tomorrow will bring. Why? Because no one does fun like Carnival. Carnival. Choose fun.
There are cars that merely move you from point A to point B, and then there are cars that move you visually, emotionally, and holistically. Welcome to the first ever Mazda CX-90, a masterpiece of design and performance that aligns perfectly with you and your lifestyle. The three-row SUV is thoughtfully built with expert craftsmanship, precision engineering, high-quality details, and the ability to seamlessly connect car and driver to move every part of you. The Mazda CX-90, Mazda's most powerful vehicle yet.
Duluth Trading knows it's all too easy for the same old holiday gifts to start feeling ho-ho-hum. Be done with ho-hum and start gifting buck-naked underwear, Noga pants, and free swinging flannels and those tired old gifts right on their Yuletide tuchus. Holiday the unaverage way and get the best deals of the season. Only at Duluth Trading.
Look no further than Sports Grid Radio on Sirius XM. Their winning team of experts, led by Scott Farrell, are analyzing the lines and odds for every game and updating the latest player props and team win totals.
Their quarterback situation is an absolute mess. With a win total of 9.5, I'm hammering the under.
Become a better with Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM channel 159.
To hear Sports Grid Radio on Sirius XM, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
There you go now. I think I'm recording. There you go now. I think I'm recording.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 0181468.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici, let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and people who love the universe. And that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! You know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how many times I gotta tell you, because I was nominated neighborhood spokesperson. And I'm trying to do my best to bring the neighborhood together. But some people just don't appreciate it when it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't have to worry about what time it is. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. I'm telling you, Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, TuneIn Podcast, Good Pods Podcast, Amazon Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Podcast Addict, I'm telling you, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast. You can also follow Big C Sports on Geo Savan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa, Podtail, YouTube, Hub Hopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Podyssey, Podcast Republic, and one that used to scare me, but now it doesn't. I think it's called allfees.ai. I think it's like chat whatever. The robots are trying to take over. Give that some praise. We don't want the robots taking over. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast, streaming OTT on 4 TV platforms all over the universe. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Really do appreciate that, the way things have grown with Big C Sports. I also want to say I love doing a PSA for every show. It's for the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I do. It's nice when somebody's leaning back, and the Veterans Crisis Hotline, they do a great job of leaning back, and I love giving them some praise. They deserve it. When you see first responders, you see the sirens coming, that's the first responders. We got to get out of the way and let them do their job in them their hills, if that makes sense to you. Also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said, let there be light, and then the people cheer. It's nice to have the lights on, if that makes sense to you. I want to say, I'm telling you, there's so many great things that I love about Big C Sports. Number one, I always rise and shine. I produce the show. I always direct the topic. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter. I know I can use more laughter. And then number 5, the commercials are done. The stats are provided. They say facts tell and stories sell. I do the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Purdy up to the line of scrimmage. Cardinals with 5-man front, 4 wideouts for the Niners. Purdy with the snap, rolling to his right, throws downfield. It is caught for the touchdown. Touchdown, Niners! Deebo Samuel, 50 yards! And that's what I'm talking about happening down in the desert on Sunday for the 49ers. I got my own Big C Sports NFL previews coming up, but I'm telling you, the show is uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and I'm in Dimdale Hills, California. And then I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports with the crew back in the days at Salem Media. I want to say give that some praise. I never missed a show. Now we got people missing days in practice. You know, practice. I gotta get on something. I do my show today's a little bit later. I was doing some training because there's a lot of opportunities coming to Dimdale Hills. Give opportunities some praise. I want to see did the Biden administration give President Zelensky more money today? And I don't know if they did or not. But I want to make sure. I know he got the $200 million announced. Isn't that a nice Christmas present for anybody? $200 million! Yeah, that's a nice Christmas present. The Biden administration announces $200 million in aid for Ukraine as Zelensky meets with the GOP skepticism in Congress. That was a couple of days ago. So I can't see if anything else has happened. I know he was looking for $110 billion. He has some big balls to come here to this country when people are sleeping on the street, under overpasses, under highways, and say, hey, we're losing the war. A lot of people are losing a lot of things. In this country, we can't take care of the whole world. You got people, there should be no American, what did they say? What did President Bush say? No child left behind? There should be no American left behind. They got people sleeping on the streets in the United States of America, in all the major cities in the United States of America. And that's not a problem. They've already lost. They deserve to keep that. You take care of your own house first. That's what I was told growing up. Give that some praise, taking care of your own house first. Everybody's lining up asking America for money. And they're still sucking and diving on paying reparations. The people that built this country for free. Why would any man come to the United States and say, oh, we need another $100 billion? And you got descendants of child slavery that work from cradle to grave that have not been paid. How dare you let people cut in front of the line? You ever stand in line for a long time, and maybe you're at the DMV, and you stand in line for 30 minutes trying to get your registration renewed. And then somebody says, you could use a kiosk, sir. I said, okay. But before that, could you imagine somebody just walking in? You've been in line 30 minutes, and some good old boy just walks in front of the line and say, I want to pay for my registration. You say, what about me? I've been waiting 30 minutes. Well, you go back to think about how you felt when that happened, or if it's ever happened to you. Imagine what descendants of child slavery, the smart ones, the ones that read and know their history, from 1619 to 1865, people worked from cradle to grave, from babies to grown folks. There was no retirement plan, no life insurance policy, no pension, no 401k, no retirement plan. You had no any benefit, no health care, nothing. And then President Abraham Lincoln writes the Emancipation Proclamation with the help of Frederick Douglass that was supposed to give free black men 40 acres and a mule. And when Lincoln was assassinated, President Andrew Johnson came along, he vetoed the bill. And he gave the land to the insurrectionists, known as the Southern Confederates. It was black soldiers that helped the Union win the Civil War. And some people don't even know that. Their butts are walking around free because of black people. And then they say, we don't need to pay no reparations. That's because they're ignorant. And this show's not for ignorant people. In fact, it has a block where you can't even listen if you're ignorant, if that makes sense to you. Now, some people do sleep through every now and then. But the point of the matter is, I'm so pro reparations. I want to give it praise every show. I want to give it praise. Me let me strike. Praise God for that. I'm so emboldened by the things that are happening in Congress right now. I'm also a chair member of the National Black Wall Street Project, making sure that we get our reparations. It's economic development and empowerment. I do want to say, last night I had a very good opportunity. I was attending the California Black Chamber of Commerce meeting and met Ambassador George Jones, just a top class person, a lawyer, great law firm, working to make sure that we get long-term care into California's. I mean, you got to understand what long-term care is. It's expensive, but there's a way that you get it through the articles that were written in 1965 by Lyndon Baines Johnson. And I'll be covering that more as I get into my real estate show in 2024. But I want to give that some praise. I want to give George Jones some praise, and Ray Dela Cruz some praise, and Leon Woods, the lobbyist, some praise, and California Governor Gavin Newsom some praise. Give that some praise. They all know who Big C Sports is, and that makes my heart feel proud. But at the same time, I want to also, today is about the NFL and getting into Big C's picks, but I always make sure that I do. They say if you know where you come from, maybe you respect your root a little better. I love saying it that way. I love rising and shining, and I'm going to give some praise to the Associated Press because I realize in reverse engineering how God has put me in a position in life where I talk about either lead, follow, or get out of the way. I don't count on nobody to do anything but God. I don't care if you're a billionaire. I don't care if you're a billionaire or a pauper. It doesn't matter if you have 19 degrees or no degrees. I only answer to the Most High. I give God praise every day for helping me breathe. Nobody can help you breathe but the good Lord, if that makes sense to you. But I do want to give praise to the Associated Press and Janie Harr. She wrote an article. It was called, what was it called? Curry, spit it out. It was called Reparations. But she called a sports guy. Janie Harr, the Associated Press. In that article, she also mentioned President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and they should be all over reparations. I don't know what's taking them so long. You're not getting reelected unless you pass it. They got to know that. All that shucking and jiving is over. They should be passing it, especially Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden. You got to tell me all that stuff about giving Zelensky more money. That's a joke! But the Associated Press called me and said, is this Charlton Curry? I said, yes. She said, hi, this is Janie Harr, the Associated Press. I said, how'd you get my number? She said, we have our ways. I said, what made you call me? She said, well, I heard you speak at a reparations rally. I said, okay, well, how can I help you? She said, I want to get your thoughts on reparations. I said, if you heard me speak, then you know my thoughts on reparations, the same as President Abraham Lincoln. I said, reparations now, reparations forever. And that's a fact. You know, she wrote that article. You know who picked up that article? CBS News, ABC News, NBC News, Fox News, the Associated Press. You can't get much bigger than that. So that gives me validation. So what is validation, Curry? Well, you can Google validation. But I'm saying it because if I, as one beautiful, intelligent black man, can go into a meeting where lobbyists know my name, some of the most powerful politicians in California know my name, and that to me, I know who you are, I've heard your show. That to me, that's very gratifying. But I appreciate that, but I want to also make sure that I stand on the shoulders of other great people. I want to thank the inimitable Reverend Tony Pierce, the president and CEO of the National Black Wall Street Project, for making me a co-chair in Northern California. There's so many things that are coming, but we got to get busy about reparations for the descendants of child slavery before everybody takes the money. Because people coming to California like raindrops in a storm, and they're trying to get that money, and we're sitting there having task force meetings. Doesn't make any sense to me, and I want to change that. I also love giving praise like no other show in the universe. I give praise every show. Every show. Because it's important. I want to thank Betty Williams. Met her again last night. President of the Sacramento chapter of the NAACP. Really do appreciate her. But all of it ties into the Black Wall Street. And I want to make sure that I do my part. And so on my show, I thought you were going to talk about the game, Curry. The game I'm talking about is a game of life, so we can all win. Not just the athletes on the football field or basketball court. They've already got their money. But I'm asking the NBA and the NFL, if one beautiful, intelligent black man can do this, can you at least say yes? Yes, we can. What did President Obama say? Yes, we can. President Obama, can you talk to President Biden about doing what President Abraham Lincoln said? Sign reparations now. Sign reparations forever. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because President Zelensky is showing more boldness than all of our past presidents, asking for money in the billions of dollars. As descendants of child slavery are sitting here saying, well, we're going to see what Congress is going to do. We're going to see what President Joe Biden is going to do. He already signed the check! As we sitting there standing up for the kickoff, I want to give praise to the California Reparations Task Force because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Oh my God, I want to give praise to Mila Moore. She's the chair. She's brilliant. She's a lawyer that specializes in the period of justice. I love giving her praise. Had conversation with her. Going to hopefully interview her soon. I also want to give praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown. He's brilliant. The vice chair. Had conversation with him. Want to give him praise. I want to give praise to the #1 senator in the United States of America, and that's California Senator Stephen Bradford. I want to give him some praise. He sponsored name, image, and likeness that helps college athletes get paid. You're going to watch basketball and football coming up over the holidays. He also authored the Ebony Alert, which helps law enforcement give the same resources to finding young black children when they go missing as they do with the Amber Alert that helps find young white kids. And he's also on the California Reparations Task Force. You got to give that some praise. He's not shaking the jogging. Just need President Biden to listen to him. I want to give praise, and I'm going to be having a conversation with him after the holidays. Really do appreciate him. I want to give praise to Council Member Monica Montgomery Stebbins. She's brilliant. Love giving her praise. I'm going to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I want to give him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. Love giving him praise. And I want to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Tamaki, part of the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant. And I want to give him praise. He already got reparations when Japanese were interned in internment camp in the United Nations. And they're making black Americans keep having these, what do we call it? Task force meetings? We got to keep having task force meetings. I want to thank This Is CNN, proud sponsors of Big C Sports. Love giving them praise. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsors of Big C Sports. I want to give them praise. I want $6 billion. I want the $6 billion. I want to give praise to Double O, the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. He sent me executive order, and you can Google this, Executive Order 13985, on further advancing racial equality and racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. That's the White House. We got to know that. I want to give praise to Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Rick Scott of Florida. They reintroduced a bill to restore Holocaust survivors' rights. You can Google it. I want to give praise to Georgetown University, right in the heart of Washington, D.C. They already pledging them over $1 billion in counting in reparations for descendants of chattel slavery that helped build Georgetown. They were selling families, men, women, and children. In Georgetown and the Jesuits, they realized the wrongness of their ways, and they're trying to atone. You atone by paying out the money. You don't atone by saying, let's give a declaration, let's give what they call, what do they say when somebody say, I'm sorry? I'm sorry. We don't need no public apology. We need what President Zelensky, no one gave President Zelensky a public apology. Sorry that you're being bombed. They gave him the money. We deserve the same thing or more. I want to thank Double O Payout Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She sent me an article from the United Nations. It says that this United Nations, that strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. Curry, you said that in the last show. Exactly, I said the last show. They say faith comes by hearing. Give that some praise. I'm going to keep saying it until they sign reparations. The same way they gave President Zelensky $200 million this week as she was standing in line for toys for Christmas. He didn't go Christmas shopping. Well, you're wrong, Curry. He did go Christmas shopping at the White House. That's right. He got $200 million. President Biden wrote a check. It did not even mention reparations. You mark my word. When the politicians come around for the vote, they're going to put out President Obama. They're going to put out Bill Clinton. They're going to put out Hillary Clinton. They're going to put out the black churches. They're going to talk to Clyburn. They're going to ask all of the black leaders to tell people, please go out and vote for the man that refused to sign reparations before he gave President Zelensky $100 billion. President Joe Biden, the ball's in your hand now. It really is. And you know the people that put you in office, it was not President Zelensky. It was the black vote. And everybody knows that's true. What is it about black Americans that you don't want to pay up? And people coming to get money that was set aside for descendants of chattel slavery. The Freedmen's Bureau, we know that. How can President Obama gave some of that money away? President Trump gave some of that money away, so did President Biden. They didn't give it to black folks or descendants of chattel slavery. We keep having commissions. Oh, well, let's give President Zelensky $100 billion, but let's give the black people, let's give them a task force. Zelensky didn't get a task force. He did not ask for a task force. What happened to the first $100 million? And now he needs more? But you mark my words, they're going to come around asking for our vote again. The word is, rumor has it, no reparations, no vote. And you know that when you got the suit on, when you started stomping. That brother didn't even wear a suit from the Ukraine. Come over here in a sweatsuit and some khaki pants. And I think about the Edmund Pettus Bridge where men, black men and women were in their best attire, in suits and dresses, marching for civil rights, beaten over the head, John Lewis, just so we could have voting rights. Dr. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. Having a dream of equality and opportunity is still denied reparations. Whether it's Malcolm X saying, by any means necessary. Why we have to go through so much for so little? And then Congress, the Supreme Court, stripped away affirmative action. They said those people are already equal. And haven't even given the Emancipation Proclamation. In the Homestead Act, in 1862 and 1863, they gave over 276 million acres of land away for free. But you had to be white, or even European white. You couldn't be black. You know the people that built this country for free, they gave them nothing. And that's a shame. And even after slavery was abolished, there was 100 years of Jim Crow, which gave black people nothing. It's so horrible. And so it kind of makes me wonder why another man, a white man, can come here and say, well, we need money to help win the war. You're already getting your butts kicked. You're not going to win that war against Russia. And then in the Sudan, they got 1 million kids starving. Nobody's writing them a check for $200 million. But they're black. Oh, we're a colorblind society. Really? You got to give me some praise. I'm not shucking and driving. We got to get this done. I want to thank T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, proud sponsor of Big C Sports. And I want to tell you, I just appreciate so much about Big C Sports Podcast. I do want to give President Biden some praise, though, because he did. I mean, it's almost insulting to say this, though, because I was saying this for the last probably couple of months now, and especially since September when Georgetown pledged over $1 billion in reparations. That President Biden he backs studying reparations as Congress considers a bill. But this came in 2021. And since that time, President Joe Biden, he can use executive order to sign reparations. And since that time, President Zelensky, in the last 12 months, he's asked for over $200 billion. He already got $100 billion and some aerial planes. And that was after President Biden and a White House panel heard testimony on legislation that would create a commission to examine the history of slavery in the United States, as well as the discriminatory government policies that affected former slaves and their descendants. And the commission would recommend ways to educate America's public of its findings and suggest appropriate remedies, including financial payments from the government to the compensated descendants of slaves for years of unpaid labor by their ancestors. Why wasn't it that difficult for President Zelensky to get his money, $100 billion? His ancestors didn't build the United States for free. His ancestors weren't lynched in the United States, lynched, raped, murdered, sold off, and then 100 years of Jim Crow after that. That's not his answer. So what is it about him that's able to step to the front of the line? I'm telling you, something's not right. And they're going to recognize it when it's time to vote again. Mark my words, they're going to be asking for the vote. You gotta vote for me or you ain't black. And people voted in droves. President Biden captured the Democratic presidential nomination and ultimately the White House with the strong support of the black vote. As he campaigned against the backdrop of the biggest reckoning on racism in a generation. They talk about George Floyd's killing, and President Biden backed the idea of studying reparations for the descendants of slaves, but now he tries to win congressional support for other agenda items, including a massive fund to help foreign governments. You got to understand that. Why wasn't it so easy for a white man to come here and just get the money, like on a handshake? Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Democrat of Texas, who has 173 co-sponsors of her bill, said the descendants of slaves continue to suffer from the legacy of that brutal system and the enduring racial inequality that spawned out of COVID-19. You got to realize data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention indicated that black people were nearly 3 times as likely to be hospitalized because of COVID-19 as white people and nearly twice as likely to die from the illness. The government of the United States, that's the same government that gave President Zelensky over $100 billion. That same government sanctioned slavery, and that same government needs to repair. The time for talking is over. The time for talking is over. Give us the same respect that you gave President Zelensky, who's not even an American. He can't even vote in the United States. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it because it's time for change. I want to just say real quickly before I get into Big C Sports, I want to talk about Freedmen's Bank because people need to know this for the holidays. Freedmen's Bank, the United States, Freedmen's Bank, chartered by the United States Congress. It was March 3rd of 1865 to provide a place for former slaves to safely store their money. After several successful years in which freedmen deposited more than $57 million in the bank, it collapsed in 1874 as a result of mismanagement and financial fraud. They were white. Think about this. For black people, there was a board of white trustees. There were 50 of them named to manage the bank's affairs. And they stole the money! All of it. And some people say we don't deserve reparations. And people know that we do, especially Congress. I'll say this before I get into the sports part. Although I know you want to see the game. What a beatdown the Raiders gave the Chargers last night. Me lightning strike! They gotta start using those lightning bolts on the side of their helmets. Although the collapse of Freedman's Bank was devastating to thousands of African Americans, the records left behind by the bank have proved to be an invaluable source for genealogists. And the records are the largest single source of lineage-linked African American records known to exist. You can't tell me we can't find out who to give the money to. They didn't suss the lineage of President Zelensky when they gave him $100 billion and not considering another $110 billion. You got to give me some praise for saying that. I want to give praise to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my grandmother called her Mama, beautiful, loving, kind woman. Always making sure lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. My beautiful great-grandfather called him Pop, from a military man and from a Negro League baseball player, known around this church buddies as making the best moonshine in the history of the universe. And I'm telling you, my beautiful grandmother, my dear, beautiful, loving, kind woman, always making sure lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. Really do appreciate her. She was a seer, could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. She still helps me to this day. And then my beautiful grandfather Hezekiah, another wonderful person. A seer could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. She started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always seeing rise and shine, the best person I've ever met in my life. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, a former pastor with 3 churches, owned 2 gas stations. He also owned 40 acres of land, like the Emancipation Proclamation, where free people of color were supposed to get 40 acres of the mule. Very smart man. And then my beautiful grandmother, working side by side with my granddaddy with the 3 churches and the 2 gas stations. I was 8 years old walking through a hallway in Oakland. You heard the story, but it's backed by popular demand. I was walking down our hallway, and I felt somebody touch me on my forehead. And she said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies?" I said, "What are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies?" I said, "Cookies are baby crap to what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations." And a couple cookies wouldn't hurt either. She let me get some cookies. But then she said there's something about your voice. She said it. She said, "I love hearing you speak." And how would she know her grandson would be speaking about reparations? Reparations now! Reparations forever! How did she know that? Give that some praise. How did she know that? I think she prophesied on me. Because it's going to happen now, and I know that. I met some really influential black Americans at the Christmas kickoff for the California Black Chamber of Commerce. And from George Jones, and being invited to do some work with him, and Ray Dela Cruz being invited to do work with him, and Leon Woods, one of the top lobbyists in the United States, really, because of the top in California, and they all are highly endorsed by Gavin. I keep saying President Gavin Newsom, but by California Governor Gavin Newsom for now, who mandated the California Reparations Task Force. But people got to know, black Americans. The smartest black Americans that I know, they are so pro-reparations. And even the smartest white people that I know are pro-reparations. So what's the blockage? Really, what's if the house is burning, is there anybody that sees a child in the house and says, "Well, let it burn"? Nobody says that. If a house is on fire, does a fireman see a child in the house and say, "Oh, just let the house burn down"? They don't do that. They rescue that child. Well, the Emancipation Proclamation, people tried to burn it. They tried to burn it for years, since 1865. And I'm asking Congress and President Biden to rescue it and give that some praise. Because that's the key to your re-election. The pen's in your hand. The pen's mightier than the sword. It's in your hand. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always saying go forward. And then my beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sunlight, thunder, and lightning. When Tom would speak, always saying go forward. A voracious reader. Just one of the best people I've ever met in my life. I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. Graduated with honors 2 degrees in 3.5 years from a major university. And then she helped set up the very first interview for Big C Sports, the same sports show that was written about in the Associated Press. Daisy, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. In fact, for the first time in the history of the United States, NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. It had never happened before until Big C and the crew started doing our thing. Daisy, you could always do anything you want to do. I just love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, senior, very smart, erudite, a good man. You can be anything you want to be. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers and go through the newspapers to look up stats on players and teams for Big C Sports Podcast. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And the light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since, now on 29 platforms. And then one day, Malcolm said, Dad, do you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now it's streaming on 4 TV platforms. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Malcolm, you can be anything you want to be. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God. Read Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. And your father has been written up by the Associated Press, CBS News, NBC News, on Big C Sports Podcast. You got to give that some praise. You're the one that told me to Google it. You can be anything you want to be, and I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then Big C, all that wealth and knowledge over the years, always saying you gotta believe, you gotta believe, you gotta believe. Saying let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. That's been nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. That's apparent, Curry. I have no teleprompters. I have no 3-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I do it with my higher self. And before, I just want to say this because it's important to me. I feel that God has opened so many doors for me. I can feel it. And I just want to give God some praise. God knows what I mean. It's been a trying couple of years. But I've been rising and shining through them all. Like my mama always told me to. And I want to give that some praise. Thank you for always just being there for me. I'm telling people who are looking for work, I know real estate business is going through its changes. Like dirty clothes go through a washing machine. If you need work, 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. Call 800-772-8624. Call 800-772-8624. And tell them Big C sent you if that makes sense to you. 4 months bank statements, $5,000 minimum monthly revenue, 6 months in business. For you real estate brokers, you know what I'm talking about. We specialize in unsecured working capital, up to $5 million, no collateral. We have early payoff discounts. We fund in as little as a day, and we're in all 50 states. If you're trying to put together business and you can't get someone to sell their house because they don't want to move, you can't get your loan to go through, and you need some funding, you need some capital, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, and you just tell them Big C sent you. That's all you got to do. And then study HR 40 and AB 3121 for reparations, because that's what I do. Well, now, are you ready for the kickoff? As you stand up for the kickoff, last night, what was that? The Raiders, they blew out the Chargers last night. It was an incredible display. They were up 42-0 at halftime. And they went on to beat the Chargers 63-21. Where has that Raider team been? Where's it been? because this is a team that's had so many problems since the late Al Davis passed. They just have not been the same. But last night, it looks like the Chargers just laid down. And since I've never seen the Chargers play that bad. The first NFL football game I ever saw in person was the the San Diego Chargers against the Oakland Raiders back in the day. And to see what happened last night is like the Chargers gave up. You can't give up a 63 points in an NFL football game if you're trying. They get paid anyway. But give the Raiders some praise because people are giving up on the Raiders. They were shut out 3-0 by Minnesota the week before. But now we're on week 15 as we stand up for the kickoff. And I want to get into Big C's NFL football predictions. I've been doing about 70% of my predictions this year. And when you think about week 15, 3 games on Saturday. The Dallas Cowboys, they visit the Buffalo Bills. And Superman Lamar Jackson versus Trevor Lawrence matchup on Sunday night. It all culminates with a Monday Night Football matchup between the Eagles and the Seahawks up on the Pacific Northwest, and that would be on ESPN. But that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to get into Big C's thoughts. 800 Gambler, if you're going to pull that paper out of your wallet, Minnesota Vikings 7-6 at the Cincinnati Bengals 7-6 Saturday 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on the NFL Network. Cincinnati is favored by 3. The over-under is 40.5. Quarterback Jake Browning out of Folsom High School and the University of Washington and the Cincinnati Bengals offense. They're coming back-to-back wins. I'm telling you, this guy can throw the football. He threw 91 touchdown passes as a senior at Folsom High School, and he rarely played in the fourth quarter. 91 touchdown passes. Isn't that something? The good boy can play. You thought Joe Burrow was accurate? This guy is accurate. But they're going to have to contend with one of the best defenses in the league this weekend. Over the past 8 weeks, the Minnesota Vikings, they've led the NFL in the fewest points allowed per drive. And that's going to be a test for Browning and the good old boys. They're going to have to throw the ball deep, and they got to have to be accurate. Now, the Vikings tight end T.J. Hawkinson will catch at least 5 passes. The Bengals defense has allowed more receptions at 88 and 935 yards to opposing tight ends than any other team, so you know they're going to be looking at him. And when I think about it, some of the production has been because of receiver Justin Jefferson and the injuries, but they know they're going to go to him a lot. For the Bengals are 4-0 against NFC teams this season and have won 8 straight against the conference. I got Cincinnati winning this game because I think when they look at Browning, how well he is throwing the ball, the deep ball, over 40 yards, he's really accurate. He did a lot of that in high school, the timing pass. He also did a lot at Washington. That's my story. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? Well, Las Vegas says the Vikings are 4-0 against the spread in the past 4 games as a road underdog. But I got the Cincinnati Bengals winning this one 24-17. That's my story. And I'm sticking with it. The Pittsburgh Steelers 7-6 at the Indianapolis Colts 7-6 Saturday 4:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on the NFL Network. Indianapolis is favored by 1.5. The over/under is 42.5. The Steelers have won 8 consecutive games against the Colts, including regular season and postseason. When you think about that streak, it began in 2011 with the Colts' last win coming in 2008, and they had a guy by the name of Mr. Payton, if that makes sense to you. But Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, hired in 2007, he's 8-1 against Indianapolis and has never lost at Lucas Oil Stadium. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? Well, I got to tell you what Las Vegas thinks. They think 800 Gambler, if that makes sense to you. You got to tell me, a lot of people are kind of perturbed about the Steelers, how they don't have the success they thought they'd have. But 5 of the Colts' 6 home games have gone over the total this season. Is that something to you? The Steelers haven't scored a lot of points lately, and they got to try to figure out how to get on the scoreboard more often. They lost to a mighty low team in the Patriots last time out, and before that, the Cardinals. And I want to say I might swallow my whistle when I do this. I'm trying to whistle. I can't whistle that well. Okay, that's not a whistle. That sounds like cutting cheese. But be that as it may, I got the Steelers winning a close one in 23-21, and I might be swallowing my whistle after that score comes in. I got the Denver Broncos 7-6 at the Detroit Lions. They are 9-4 Saturday 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on the NFL Network. Detroit's favored by 4. The over/under is 47.5. The Lions have lost 2 of their past 3 games, while the Broncos have won 6 of their past 7 games and are looking to climb the AFC West ladder. It will also be a reunion for the Lions coach Dan Campbell and his mentor Sean Payton, now the coach of the Denver Broncos. Campbell spent the past 5 seasons playing under Payton and his staff, but he has his own team now. In reality, a Lion would maul a Bronco, but we'll see. The Broncos defense with 20 sacks and 18 takeaways over the past 7 games. They're going to get the quarterback Jared Goff out of Moran Catholic High School in Cal Berkeley, and that's my story I'm thinking with it. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? I think Las Vegas says, what's at stake? The Lions can take another step toward the NFC North title if they win Saturday night. And that's my story I'm sticking with it. But what does Las Vegas think? A betting nugget. The Lions are 31-16 against the spread under Campbell, the second best against the spread record since 2021, only behind the Dallas Cowboys. My thought, I told you, in reality, a Lion would maul a Bronco. I got Detroit 28. I got the Broncos 24. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. How about those Bears? The Bears are 5-8 at the Cleveland Browns 8-5. It's on Fox Sports at 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff Sunday on Fox. The spread is Cleveland. This is for you. They're favored by 3. The over-under is 38.5. What you got to watch for the last 2 times. The last time these 2 teams met, 2021, Cleveland's Myles Garrett had an almost mini sacks 4.5 as Chicago quarterback Justin Fields had completions. He had 6. And now Fields has gotten much better since then. He's completing about 68% of his passes, and he's gotten a lot better with his offense. And I like the way he's doing it. Cleveland quarterback Joe Flacco has thrown an interception in each of his 2 starts, and the Browns fumbled twice last week. The Bears look like they're getting better. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? Well, Las Vegas says, if you may ask 800 gambler, be careful. The Browns are 6-1 against the spread at home this season, with the unders going 5-1-1. That tells me something because they're tough at home. I got the Browns 24, the Bears 21. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're 6-7 at the Green Bay Packers. Also 6-7, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff Sunday on CBS Sports. And Green Bay's favorite by 3.5 points. The over-under is 41.5. It's the 3rd straight year that Baker Mayfield has come to Lambeau Field with his 3rd different team. He's combined to throw 5 interceptions, 4 in 2021 with the Browns, 1 last season with the Rams. In those 2 games, the Packers have intercepted the ball 6 times. 6 times. That's a lot. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? Las Vegas says that the Packers quarterback, Jordan Love, has been excellent against the blitz out of Liberty High School in Bakersfield and Utah State. And now he's doing his thing for the Green Bay Packers. So Las Vegas, the way they think, 800 gambler, be careful if you're out there taking money out of your wallet. The Packers have won and covered 3 straight home games. Remember what they did to Kansas City? They've covered 3 straight home games. 3? Yes, 3. My pick, the Green Bay Packers, 24. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I have them 21. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got another game, the Houston Texans 7-6 at the Tennessee Titans 5-8, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on CBS Sports. Now Tennessee's favored by 2.5. The over-under is 37.5. The storyline, the Tennessee Titans have 10 passing plays of 40 or more yards this season. You got to think about how good that is. And rookie quarterback Will Levis is responsible for 5 of them in his 7 starts. Houston's secondary is aligned 247 passing yards per game. That's 26 in the NFL. That's not good. And when I think about what's going on with Las Vegas, I got to tell you the stat to know that Titans running back Derek Touchdown Henry has at least 2 rushing touchdowns in 3 straight games for the 2nd time this season. What does that mean? What does Las Vegas say, Curry? Las Vegas says 800 gambler. If you think about 800 gambler and they're trying to tell you keep the money in your pocket, because some people they hate keeping money in their pocket, you got to understand, in Las Vegas they're saying the betting nugget, the Titans are 2-6 outright against the spread against teams currently with winning records. Big C's picks, I'm going to go, man, the Titans they're tough at home. I'm going to go the Texans 21, Titans 14. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got to get you to the Jets, Jets. They're 5-8 at the Miami Dolphins and 9-4. How did Miami lose that last game? I have no idea. It's a 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. The spread, Miami 8.5-point favorite. The over-under is 37.5. What to watch for? The Dolphins' offense is hurting. Starting offensive linemen have missed a combined 21 games due to injury this season, and that number is going to grow before the end of the year. Guard Connor Williams will miss the remainder of the season. Offensive tackle Robert Hunt is not expected to play. At the same time, you got to ask yourself this question. You got a guy, Tyreek Hill, that may be out. He has an injured ankle and some pride because of what happened to them in their last game. I think you got to know the Jets have lost 10 straight division road games. That's the longest active streak in the NFL, and the Jets' second longest since 1970 in the merger, 12 straight from 1994 to 1997. Yeah, but what is Las Vegas think, Curry? Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, he struggled Monday without Hill, and is now facing the defense that, according to a lot of people, can play good football against him. Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to return this season. So things don't look that great for the Jets on the road. I've told you they lost 10 in a row in conference. And a betting nugget, 800 gambler. The Dolphins are 7-2 against the spread as favorites this season. Tua Tagovailoa 17-11 against the spread in his career as a favorite, including 9-4 against the spread when laying at least 6 points. Big C's thoughts: Miami Dolphins 35, New York Jets 17. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And I'm telling you, for those good old boys that think who that say they're gonna beat those Saints, the New York Giants 5-8 at the New Orleans Saints 6-7, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. The spread is New Orleans by 6. The over/under is 39.5. The storyline: the Saints' pass offense has been struggling, and quarterback touchdown Derek Carr out of Bakersfield Christian High School in Fresno State. He had only 37 passing yards through most of Sunday's win against the Panthers before throwing late touchdowns to Jimmy Graham and Chris Olave. He finished with 119 passing yards, and they have a hitch in their giddy-up down in New Orleans. The Giants running back Saquon Barkley will rush for at least 100 yards, getting his chest in the win, in my opinion. And the Saints defense has allowed more than 150 yards rushing in 4 of its past 6 games. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? Well, they think 800 gambler. Be careful. I know some people like taking the money out of their wallet and flushing it down the toilet. But the Saints are 1-5 against the spread at home this season. If you're 1-5 against the spread at home this season, that means you're not really that great of a team. And why would someone be concerned about you coming in there and getting the win over those good old boys? I'm gonna tell you my opinion. When I ask you what does Las Vegas think, is real talk. I thought the Saints would have had a better season this year. But I'm going to say they're a better team than the Giants. I got the New Orleans Saints 24, the New York Giants 20. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And I got the Kansas City Chiefs at the New England Patriots. The Chiefs are 8-5 at the Patriots 3-10. 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. And Kansas City's favored by 7.5. I tell you, this team doesn't like the point spread. They don't like covering. The over/under is 37.5. The storyline to watch is the Patriots coach Bill Belichick is second on the all-time win list at 332 wins, including playoffs, while the Chiefs coach Andy Reid, he's closing ground quickly on his 277 victories, ranking him 4th all-time. It's the first time that the two head coaches in the top 5 in career regular season wins have faced each other since week 4 of 1990. The great Don Shula and the great Chuck Noll met with the Dolphins and the Steelers. Well, what does Las Vegas think, Curry? I think the Chiefs, they're going to sack Patriots quarterback Zach Bailey at least 3 times. The pass rush has been the best part of the Chiefs' defense in recent games, but their offense keeps making screw-ups. At the same time, Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, he's only 6 receptions shy of 900 for his career. I think he'll get it on Sunday. Sunday would be his 157th career game. He's also 74 career receiving touchdowns shy of matching Tony Gonzalez for the most in Chiefs history. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? Las Vegas says, for those of you that have a problem, 800 gambler, but the Patriots are 3-10 against the spread this season. That's the worst coverage percentage in the NFL. I'm going to say sometimes the Chiefs don't like to win, just like a lot of people who gamble don't want to keep their money. But you can bet the Chiefs will cover the spread. I got the Chiefs 28, the Patriots 14. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, for those of you who like animals, the Atlanta Falcons are 6-7. They're at the Carolina Panthers 1-12, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. Atlanta's favored by 3. The over-under is 34.5. The storyline, this game matters more for Atlanta because they're in a 3-way tie with New Orleans and Tampa Bay for the NFC South Division lead. And the Panthers have been focused the past few weeks on establishing a run game. You got to tell me if you think that NFL football is for people who have a tough stomach. It is, because when you're trying to gamble, think about this. They're going to try to put a lot of pressure on Bryce Young out of Santa Ana Mater Dei High School and then Alabama. But the Falcons have a top 15 run defense that has allowed an NFL low 5 rushing touchdowns. And Young is coming off his worst game, only 36% completion rate. He's got to get better, and he's going to take a year or two to get better. But this game won't be decided until late in the fourth quarter. That's my opinion. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? If you give me a chance, I'll tell you. The Panthers have scored fewer than 20 points in 7 straight games, already the longest streak in franchise history. Should they score fewer than 20 on Sunday, they will tie the Giants for the longest such streak by any team this season. I got to tell you what Las Vegas think. 800 Gambler, if you like taking money out of your wallet and trying to win games. The betting nugget. The Falcons are 5-1 against the spread in their past 6 division games. They failed to cover last week. My pick, I already told you Carolina's struggling. They got to get better over the next 2 years. I have the Atlanta Falcons 28, Carolina Panthers 17. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Washington Commanders 4-9 at the LA Rams 6-7. 4:05 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. And the Rams are 6.5-point favorite. The over-under is 50.5. The storyline, Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford has thrown at least 3 touchdowns in 3 straight games, tied for the longest streak of his career. The Commanders are now the NFL's worst passing defense, it seems, allowed a league-high 30 passing touchdowns so far. The last Rams quarterback with a longer streak was Kurt Warner, who had 4 such games in 1999. And the Rams' Puka Nuka will have at least 3 catches of at least 20 yards. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? Las Vegas says, in my opinion, I got to tell you, 800 Gambler, the Commanders are 5-1 against the spread as road underdogs this season. I got the Rams 34, Commanders 21. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, but now, what about the team from them there hills? I got the San Francisco 49ers 10-3 at the Carolina Cardinals 3-10. 4:05 p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on CBS Sports. And the 49ers are favored by 12. 12 points against the division rival. That's a lot. The over-under is 47.5. The storyline to watch, Arizona Cardinals quarterback touchdown Kyler Murray has not played the 49ers since October 2021, a stretch of more than 4 games in more than 2 years because of injuries. Keep in mind, San Francisco's won those games. Murray is 2-2 since he returned from his ACL, but he's facing a beast of a defense that's golden dim their heels. I think the 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy was passed for at least 300 yards and 3 touchdowns for the 3rd time this season. He was nearly perfect in the first meeting between these two teams, threw for 283 yards, and it could have been more than that if that makes sense to you. I think the Niners, their defense is so stout, it's hard to get yardage against this team when you're running the football. And when I think about it, Murray, he gets out of the pocket too much, and that hurts him when it goes against a team that's so disciplined against the pass rush, and that's the 49ers. Yeah, but what does Las Vegas think, Curry? The 49ers running back touchdown Christian McCaffrey has averaged 21 touches and 24 fantasy points against the Cardinals defense. That gives up the 2nd most fantasy points for you good old boys that cover that stuff. Betting nuggets for Las Vegas. What does Las Vegas think, Curry? The overs are 5-1 in Cardinals home games this season. I got a pick that I think is not that far from the reality. The 49ers 35, the Cardinals 17. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And then the big game coming up for you good old boys in Texas, the Cowboys 10-3 at the Buffalo Bills 7-6. Is a 4:25 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. And Buffalo's favored by 2. The over-under is 50.5. The storyline is a big game for both teams and the playoff implications involved. But this game could very well come down to which defense is dealing better with injuries and can make more stops against the offense and the potential to put up big points. I think the Cowboys' offense leads the NFL in points per game at 32 points per game. And then quarterback Josh Allen, Fireball High School, and also Kings River College, and then Wyoming University before playing for the Bills. He's going to lead the Bills maybe in rushing against the Cowboys and push for close to 80 yards. He'll have to pull the ball down and run it. The Cowboys are one of 7 teams that not allow a 100-yard rusher this season. But now they're going to go up in the cold and play outside. But I tell you, that Dallas defense is so tough. And touchdown Dak Prescott has multiple passing touchdowns in 7 straight games. That's tied with Tony Romo for second longest streak in Cowboys history, with Dan Meredith had 12 straight from 1965 to 1966. What does Las Vegas think, Curry? I'm going to tell you what Vegas thinks. 800 gambler for you good boys. A betting nugget. The Bills are 2-7 against the spread in their past 9 games. The unders are 5-1 in the Bills' past 6 games. My pick, Dallas Cowboys 31, Buffalo Bills 24. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And then we have the final game, the Ravens 10-3 at the Jacksonville Jaguars 8-5, 8:20 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on NBC Sports. Baltimore's favored by 3. The over-under is 42.5. The storyline after 1 week of facing the top-ranked defense in Cleveland, the Jaguars get the number 2 defense with the Ravens. Baltimore leads the league in sacks at 49, which is not good for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If this were a real match, a Jaguar would maul a Raven, but this is a different kind of Raven. I'm telling you, Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence has been sacked 31 times. Add 4 more after this game. I got a bold prediction. Superman quarterback Lamar Jackson, he'll throw for more than 300 yards in back-to-back games for the second time in his career. In the Jacksonville, I'm telling you, they can't hold up against this guy. Jackson ranks 16th in the NFL with 225.7 yards passing per game, but he threw for 316 against the Rams on Sunday. You got to tell me what Las Vegas thinks. What does Las Vegas think, Curry? I'm going to tell you what Las Vegas thinks. 800 gambler for you good boys that like to bet on games and like to get money out of your wallet and give it to the gamblers. The Jaguars are 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games. I got the Ravens winning this one 28-24. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, you know, football is great. I'm going to cover the Eagles at the Seahawks on Monday night, and I'll do that. The Eagles are 10-3. The Seahawks are 6-7. But Big C will cover that on Monday. I think the team with the biggest bird will win. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, you know what time it is. As I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car when they've been drinking and driving. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And now back by a popular demand. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, it makes me want to say reparations now, reparations forever. And that's why I told like a butterfly to stick like a bee. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that garbage, and things change when the police show up. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And now, as you stand up for the kickoff, I love telling you on every Big City Sports Show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. What about President Abraham Lincoln Curry? Oh yeah, that's right. Let's honor President Abraham Lincoln when he said, reparations now, reparations forever. And they said like your team just won the game. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell President Biden to do? Sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. They said like your team just won the championship. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell President Joe Biden to do to get reelected? He said sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.